And I have a little bit of a cold today, so I'm here we go. A little, snotty.
Hmm.
Hi everyone, it's Lisa from SheisMe, and I am here with Chantel Branch. Hi Chantel.
Hello, hello, hello.
So nice of you to be here with us. Chantel is a speaker at this year's conference. So why don't you tell everybody who you are, what you do, and what you're going to be talking about at the conference?
Hey, 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 everybody. I am Chantel Branch, self love specialist. I am the founder of My Fearless Future, and our mission is to inspire strength after abuse. And I am so excited to be speaking at the conference this year. And I really just being a survivor, and I actually use the word thriver. I am a thriver
Right.
after
Mhm.
abuse, and it's been 16 years, almost 17 years. And I spent the last, I would definitely say, maybe the first 10 years of that after leaving, just rebuilding myself, rebuilding my foundation. And I was able to do that in a safe space, a safe environment that I created for myself and my family. And then I got married, and my husband was in a safer space, like even more. He added to my safe space. So not
Yeah.
saying I went to him to be safe, but he added to my safe space, and he just building the support systems and having what I need in the right environment, it really allows you to see yourself and to get the best version of yourself. And I wanted more women that are coming out of those toxic relationships, whether it's physically, mentally, emotionally, financially. Um, I wanted them to just really see themselves because you don't really understand the mindset that you take on, or the brainwashing that happens while you're in that relationship, to learn how to walk on eggshells, to do what they say. And I just wanted that woman to see herself again, and then also see that there's a new version just waiting, and she's on the other side with her hand out. She's like, come on, girl. But a lot of times, if you don't have that safe environment to grow in, or just an environment that's not survival mode, um, you'll just keep making the same mistakes, or picking a partner where this person didn't physically abuse me, but perhaps they're mentally and emotionally toxic and to that relationship. So I wanted to help women learn how to see themselves, overcome self sabotage, and build a new foundation, and just live from that space.
That is amazing. I did that work for so long. It'll be 17 years for me this year, coming up on 18 in January, where I was able to escape, because it was literally an escape from
Yeah.
my situation, and create, like you said, a safe space for my children. And then I too got remarried, and once my children were a little bit older, and then yeah, my space is very safe now, and I can't, we talked a little bit yesterday with one of our other speakers about transitions and transformations, and when I look back at the woman that I was 17, 20 years ago, I'm completely different now than I was. I mean, the secrets that we keep, and the pain that we endure, and the silence, and the that you said, the eggshells, and all of those things that, if we had seen it straight on, right up front, we probably would have been like, ah, run. But it's coercive, it's slow, and it pulls you in. And again, if you didn't learn to trust yourself, if you didn't learn to have that, it's self-esteem and that self-worth, and not knowing that only you could validate yourself, and you didn't need that outside validation, that outside approval, that's a lot of what pulls us in. um, yeah, I'm so happy that you do this work, because it means it's great work. It's fulfilling. It's wonderful. And, as women, we need to stand up for ourselves, and we need to feel our own power. And so many of us are, or have been, in those situations. And if you are in one of those situations, then you've come to the right place, because She Is Me is going to lift you up and make you stronger, and you're going to feel better. So, what inspired you to tell your story initially?
So I would say it was my husband. And he would always ask me, like very early on in our marriage, would you share your story? And you and at the time we were going to a family church, and I was like, oh no, I would never get up in church and share my story. And he kept saying, you can help so many women. I was like, oh, somebody else can do it. They just need to pray. I'm not gonna do it. And I would always say to myself, like, once I get stronger, once I get to a place that I am okay to tell my story and I'm not crying, I'm not falling all over. And that was when, to me, that was my indication that I was healed enough to tell our story, right? Because I think we're always
Mm-hmm.
constantly evolving and healing from something,
Right.
right? And so that was really it. And the first thing I did was I went back to, actually, and I happened to live um, near the shelter that I ran away to, and I lived in for 9 months. So I went back there, and it was many years later. And I began to speak on this. I volunteered to speak on the Speakers Bureau, did some volunteering with Christmas presents, and that was pretty much how I got started. And they actually, and I knew it because they always ask you, can you share how you got out? That's what their
Yeah.
donors want to hear. That's what they want. They want to hear the success stories. And I said, oh my goodness, I knew they were going to ask, and so I wrote my story. And then they emailed and said, oh, we just need 2 to 3 minutes. I was like, but I've written 15 pages. Um, and I figured out how to get it down in 2 to 3 minutes. My husband attended. It was a small group of donors for a shelter. And afterwards, my husband was like, okay, let's write that book. And
Yeah.
I wrote the book, and it just took off from there. I just began to just go on this journey. And at first, I thought it was about a book, but it was not. It's so much more than that. And so that's how My Fearless Future got started, to begin to just share, raise awareness in my community. I wanted to show girls that came from my community that look like me, that there are resources, that there are help, and that you don't have to accept it. And in addition to that, it's also that's a changing of the mindsets. And again, that happens through our workshops that we do for youth and high school and college students.
Oh, that's fantastic. What is one of the key takeaways that you would like to leave the audience with during your talk?
Live the good life. And living a good life is literally what you make it, right? And so sometimes we think of the cars and the clothes and the flights and the luxury hotels and the beaches and the waters, and we think of all of those things. But living the good life is being able to operate from your daily oasis of peace, meaning that you're able to make decisions from an emotional you're able to make decisions and be emotionally stable, right? You're able to
Right.
make decisions, and you're not just doing it because you're angry or doing it because you're mad, but you're making decisions because you're conscious, because you're able to manage your emotions and use your tools and your resources so you can make an informed decision for your life. When we do that, we make better decisions, we end up in better situations, and better things happen for us. The more we do that, the more we love it, and we want to stay in that place.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what I want the audience to take away, is live the good life. And it's all about what you make it, emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, psychologically.
Yeah, I know, for me, the good life was peace.
Yes, that's my word, peace.
I never knew peace. And peace wasn't sitting on the beach. Peace wasn't, to me, peace was safety. Peace was being able to pay my bills. Peace was being in control of my own money. Um, peace was not being afraid to make the wrong move or say the wrong thing, or, just unlearning a lot of that, and just feeling at peace in who I was, and how I moved around every day. I mean, that is priceless. That is priceless. And there's no, I used to watch like shows on TV and be like, oh well, that's a goal, to have that big of a house, or to have that car, or to have that, and that's going to be amazing. But as you find out, and the people that have all that most of the time are up to debt in their eyeballs, They're very unhappy. They're fighting with their spouse all the time. They're, you know, kids are running crazy. Like, those things don't necessarily mean peace or happiness. So I agree with you 100%. Like, find that peace and figure out what that peace means to you. And you probably won't even know what it means until you're there, right? Because you can't even imagine your life being that. Because sometimes you can't see that far.
Oh,
You just don't
right.
know, right? What is something that you would like everyone to know about you?
So let's see. I am a wife and a mom of four, and I've been in the beauty industry for 24 plus years. So I am taking my beauty industry background, and I'm merging it with my ability to overcome and just my experience with overall wellness, self discovery, self care, and self love. And I've created the Self Love Parlor. And it is a space for women to come and learn how to stop and pause. It's just a safe space created for her so that we can begin to have those conversations, but we could also get that mental wellness and that emotional wellness that we need without being bothered with our partners, our children. And it's just a space for you. It's like when you would go to the salon, or your mother or your grandmother would go to the salon back in the day, and they would be there for hours and then they would come back. But a transformation happened in that space. She came in and she was tired. She had some issues going on. And while she sat under the dryer, looked at a magazine, scrolled on her phone. She began to have conversations, and maybe she got a question asked, or she was able to just release something, and a burden was lifted from her. Or perhaps she didn't say anything, but she left looking and feeling great. And that, it releases the endorphins in our brain. It allows us to feel the feeling of euphoria. And that is the good things that help us release the toxins, right? Because we're filled up with the goodness. And so that's the transformation that happens when women attend the Self Love Parlor.
Absolutely. And finally, what was it that attracted you to She Is Me? What wanted you to be, or what was it that you wanted to be part of this? What did you find out, or what was that moment that you said, I have to be part of this?
Well, I definitely like the fact that even when I was reading the descriptions, that this was a platform and a conference that encouraged you to tell your story, versus other conferences and platforms where like you could sprinkle a little bit, but they're not necessarily geared towards that type of empowerment. It may
Mm-hmm.
be empowerment through services and products, but I thought this was a unique platform because you encourage tell your story, because we know what it does. We know the power of when somebody else hears your story, and I knew that 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 it's a draw not only for me but other women like me who have a story and perhaps who are not ready to share their story, but they need some encouragement, they need some empowerment, and they can come to the She Is Me conference and get that, and they can get that at home.
Yeah.
That is like
Right.
awesome. I was like, wow, this is a built platform online and it's thriving, and so I thought that was great, and I wanted to be a part of it.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you have an event today. Do you want to tell us about your event?
Yes, yes, yes. So this is our fall self love parlor. It's happening today in Chicago at the Willis Tower, and I'm hosting executive women, um, and we're going to indulge in luxury self care. And so we have some activities, some mindfulness activities, but we also just get to stop and pause, sit back and relax, enjoy a beautiful skyline as the sun sets, and we get to be in just a safe space and have some much needed dialogue and discussions. You get to look good, feel good, and you get to meet somebody else. And a lot of times, sometimes people are afraid to come into new environments, but there's so much in environments that we miss out in this selfie world, in this I'm going to do it by myself, or I don't need anybody because I'm going to sit at home and watch and be on social media all day. But
Mm.
it's so much that we miss out when we don't get connected and plugged into community. So this is the opportunity for executive women to stop and pause, unplug from their world for just two hours. Put that phone on DND and just really yourself. It's just your moment. Just like if you would go to the salon, you're not on the phone talking, you are getting your service. So you're coming, and so we're not doing hair and makeup, but we are going to do that emotional and that mental transformation that makes you feel good, and go home, have a great night, but really leaving rejuvenated, restored, refreshed, getting back some of that energy that you dispersed over the year, over the day, over the week, over the month. And you get to get that back in a 2 hour span and release those toxins, laugh a little bit, let your hair down, and just get to be authentically you.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you, Chantel. Thank you so much. Join us at the SheisMe conference, October 22nd through the 27th. Chantel and many others are going to be there. We're going to be telling our stories, and we're going to be teaching you, empowering you, inspiring you to take that next step into the next chapter of your life. So, Chantel Branch, thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been a great time.